I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs. I had a friend give me this stool and I really like its legs. It has some good character to it. She thought that I could do something with it, so she gave it to me. And it originally had some tile on the top, and my husband scraped all of the tile off, so now I have a blank canvas here to work with. It did have a piece chipped off right here, and so we've glued in a new piece to match, and I'm going to hook a rug to put on top. I have this quilt book, and it's got some really pretty quilt designs in it. So I picked one of these out. I'm going to do this pattern here, block 6, and I'm going to do it as a hooked rug for the stool. I measured the stool. The stool is a little bit more than 14-inch square, so I'm going to make my pattern be 14 inches square. And each one of the squares, they have the bigger flowers, but that is made for a 22-inch square, and I don't want them that big, so I'm going to take this picture here that shows the design, and I'm going to scan that, and then I'm going to resize it to be the size that I want. So I scanned in the pattern, and I'm just going to use this here, but I'm going to enlarge it to be the size that I want it to be. So I'm going to take a screenshot of just this so that I can get that just the size that I want. On a Mac, that is Command-Shift-4. That might be different on your computer. And then I'm going to open my word processing document. On a Mac, it's Pages. It would just be whatever you have on your computer. And then I'm going to open that screenshot that I just took into my word processing document. Then I want this, since I know it's exactly the right size, I want it to be the size that I want. So I want mine to be 14 inches square. I can increase it until it is 14 inches. Probably going to do a little bit smaller than 14 inches to get me a little bit more border than what they've got there. And you can see when I do a print preview here, it's going to print out part of it, not all of it. And then once that gets done printing, I'm going to drag my image over to the other side. So we'll print the right side of the image, and I'm going to print again. And then I'm going to move the image up so it will print this bottom part. And then I'm going to move it over to this side, and I will print this part. I have my printed pages here, and I'm going to line them up. I used a thinner paper to print so you can see through pretty well, so I can just line the pictures up. And then I will tape them together. I think it will be better if I cut off this bottom right here. I think it's going to line up better. And then I'll cut this off on the top again. I do want to make sure that this is about the right size, and it looks like that'll be just fine. I have this piece of monk's cloth left over from another project. Normally I would prefer to have a little bit more of a margin on all sides, but this is a pretty good size for this project and I'd like to use it up and not waste it. So I'm going to do this. So I started off by drawing a 14-inch square in the middle of the fabric. And then I've got my pattern that I taped together. And I found that if your pattern is got bold enough lines, you can see through the monk's cloth to use a light box. So I'm going to go ahead and trace these lines with the marker. Got a black Sharpie marker. I did get this quilt book at a library book sale. So even if you don't do quilting, if a book has got neat projects in it that you like, you can always take the projects and do something different with them. I traced the pattern with my marker and I'm putting it on top of my light box. And then I'm going to put my monk's cloth over the top of that, and I want to try to get the design centered on the pattern. Then once I have it centered on the pattern, I'm going to pin the pattern pages to the fabric. And then I will just trace over the pattern. I started hooking this rug and then we ended up going on a trip, but I wanted to get it finished and my mom took over the hooking and she finished hooking it for me. So now it is ready to attach to the stool. So I'm going to press the empty monk's cloth to the back. I'm going to press the corners in first, and then I will flip the sides over and I'm going to press those down. Now I'm going to baste this to the back just to make sure that it stays down. This will be a real loose basting. When I baste, I'm going to try to catch the loops of wool on the back. So the stool did have one bad spot that we repaired, and I want to try to darken that up. I'm going to use some of this folk art antiquing medium. This is cocoa bean. I just want to get a dark coat of on this spot here so it's not quite so noticeable. I want it to blend in with the rest of the stool. You notice the stool has a lot of pretty rough spots, so I don't think that once I get this stained it will be all that noticeable. I'm going to dab at it a little bit with a cloth. quite a bit darker than this. It's got a lot more of a red cast to it, but that's definitely better than just the raw wood. It was a little bit too dark after just using the antique medium, so I did dab on a little bit of this brown oxide also, and it's not a perfect match, but I think it's pretty good. Considering the rustic primitive look of the stool, I think it will be just fine. Guest bedroom, we have a wardrobe, and its top shelf is very high and I have trouble getting into it, so I'm thinking that I'm going to keep this stool in that bedroom, and then I can use it when I need to get in the top of the wardrobe and I won't have to get a ladder out. Okay, now I've got the basting all done, and I'm going to set it on top of the stool and see how that looks. So I have these little carpet tacks that I'm going to use, and I'm going to get this where I want it on the stool. Then I've got some needle nose pliers and a hammer. So what I want to do is I want to separate the wool and then get the tack in between the rows of hooking, and that way I can arrange the wool back over it to cover it up. And then you can see how you can fluff the wool around and cover that tack up so you can't see it. Depending on the size, you could do one at each corner, or you could do some more in the middle. I'm probably just going to do one at each corner. Click the like button and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Bye.